Our speaker today is Dr. Srinivas Padmanabh Buni. He holds a doctorate in computer science from the University of Alberta, Edmonton, Canada, specializing in artificial intelligence. He holds a MTech in computer science from IIT Mumbai. He has been conferred the title of Eminent Engineer by the Institute of Engineers, India, for his lifetime contributions. He is the chief mentor for Tara Technologies, an AI consulting company through which he does training and strategic consulting, workforce in AI for enterprises. Prior to co-founding Tara Technologies, he was the principal research scientist and associate vice president heading the research at Infosys till October 2015. Dr. Srinivas is the past president of the Association for Computing Machinery, India. Dr. Srinivas has consulted several global 2,000 enterprises, delivered over 100 invited talks, has over around 7 and 15 filed petitions, over 70 international referred publications, and one published book by Willie to his credit. He has won several awards, including the Excellence Award for Innovation at Infosys, Research Excellence Award at University of Alberta, and Merit Award at IIT Kanpur. Let's give him a big round of applause and welcome Dr. Srinivas on stage.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to set the context of why I am in this field. The context of this is that we are at an inflection point in Indian IT industry. The strength of all of you, which is primarily project management, has seen it serve as a backbone for scaling the Indian IT services industry from where it was in early 90s to now, which is a $150 billion industry. Hats off to all of you. Because let me tell you, without project managers, you cannot build scale in Indian IT services. That's known, that's given. In fact, when pioneers of Indian IT service industry like Mr. Narayan Murthy or Mr. F.C. Kohli, they discovered what's the way to scale. They discovered it's about project managers. It's about the need for managing projects in a professional manner so that we can give the comfort to our customers globally that we can do work sitting here and do quality work. So hats off to all of you, but welcome to the next generation of IT services. And to look at what next generation of IT services means, I want to have a raise of hands of how many of you have ever seen a passbook, bank passbook. Okay? So that means there's a good amount of percentage of people who are of a different generation in this room. Right? Now, people who are all of that cadre who have raised their hands, right? If I ask the same question to your kid or to your younger sister or brother, what would they say? Have they seen a passbook? No. Okay, you're even grandparent generation then. That may be, right? So, what are we talking about? We're talking about technology disrupting our life. Technology disrupting our way we work. And that has happened using digital technologies like internet banking, core banking, SMS banking, web-based banking. And then we see a new era now, which is exactly what is happening in the passbook to the modern way of doing banking, is exactly what is happening in the IT services field. The IT services field, till recent past, was dominated by the notion that there is a knowledge worker. I'm not naming it as a knowledge worker. I'm not calling him tester. I'm not calling him a developer. I'm not calling him a designer. I'm not calling him an SQA. Or I'm not calling him a project manager. But let me call, for lack of a better word, a knowledge worker, right? A knowledge worker was working in a collaboration across the globe. I know of project teams which were comprising of 3 different locations, maybe 10 different locations, 5 in India, 2 in US, 1 in Australia. But that was the model which helped IT services scale till date. But think about the percentage of services being contributed from India. Let's take the reality check. While we say IT services, we all gear up for programming contests, we teach kids programming, but let's face the reality. 95% of work done from India is not development. It's not design. It is maintenance, it is testing, remote infrastructure management, and business process outsourcing. Between these four services, we have 95% of Indian IT workforce. That's the reality. All of you can vouch for it, yes or no? All of you know that. But unfortunately, my friends, these are the four services which are going to be maximally hit by this upcoming disruption of so-called AI or AI-enabled automation. So we have to brace ourselves for the next generation. We have done it. It's not like we've not done it. For example, just like, we have braved the passbooks and come to digital banking, right? We're all comfortable into going to online and doing a money transfer. Same thing is going to happen in the new, we call it as the digital era of work. When we say digital worker or digital natives of the current generation who are very comfortable in getting their work done by just talking to Siri on the phone and identifying what's the temperature today so that they can identify whether to take an umbrella out or not, right? How many of you do that? No, but our kids do that. All of us do that, right? But now, think about this. When we're preparing systems for this generation, which is the new generation digital natives, what are the powering technologies? We all have heard of standard technologies, but let me tell you, there are only two technologies which are most important. One, the concept of there is no ownership of software. That is called the cloud. Nobody owns a piece of software. Nobody owns or buys a licensed piece of software to sit as a custom CD on your desk. Second is the era of intelligence. That's what we're going to cover. But let me tell you, there are many other technologies which will come, gone, blockchain will come, go, the social will come, go, mobile will come, go. But let me tell you, cloud and AI are the ones which are going to disrupt the way we're carrying out our work in IT over the next 20, 30 years. The profound effect of these two are two different dimensions. One is going to take away the concept of owning or licensing a software. Second is going to take the very notion of what is the work you're going to do. So that's why it's very important for us to understand that. So given that, let me set the context for myself. Today I'm an AI practitioner. I run a company called Tara.ai, which is purely into AI consulting, AI knowledge sharing, and we help companies bridge the gap in adopting AI technology for their digital transformation or for their customers' digital transformation. Why I've taken this journey is because I was comfortable in Infosys heading the research. We had a long, big group of people working on AI platforms, on transforming IT services. That background brings me and gives me confidence, supported by my background in PhD in AI, brought me back to the fore that AI is actually a 50-year-old technology. 1956, John McCarthy coined the word called artificial intelligence. It's a very old branch of computer science. But why now? Why now? We'll set the context in the coming few slides. So my goal of this masterclass is a couple of things. One, to onion peel what AI means. Then, what are the constituent elements of AI for you? And so each of you can take away bullet points from here. It's not like it's only going to be a one-way. In between, we'll also have exercise among yourself to test what you have learned. So it's going to be like I'll play part professor and a part, practitioner. Bear me with that. So you will have to do some exercise as part of this masterclass. Because they told me it's a class. If it's a class, if I don't give you an exercise, I'll feel, having done my work half. So be prepared. So pay attention. Okay? So let me start with, so my contact is here. If you want to contact, of course you can contact through the PMI. But let me tell you one thing is, what I'm presenting you is coming out of not theory which I've done during my PhD in AI, but it's coming out of my practitioner experience of working with several customers on understanding their AI needs, understanding how it impacts the market, how it impacts your daily work as a knowledge worker. Let me use the word knowledge worker because I don't know how many of you interact with only developers, how many of you interact with testers, how many of you interact with managers. It can be any kind of knowledge worker, but this is going to be important.